what we saw, and this really goes back to changing that culture, is we saw instances of teachers, bus drivers, administrators, nurses. We saw instances of people actually using the philosophy and processes. And what we tried to do in the February conference and in many other ways, tried to identify those people and highlight what they were doing and use them as examples for other people to follow. So what we tried to do is celebrate those successes that people were having. You've probably heard, some of the stories of teachers in their classroom with very, very simple little examples of using the continuous improvement philosophy. A second grade teacher figuring out that by using data and working with the students, figuring out that how they're arranging their classroom is not conducive to the students getting their work done. And in terms of using data and working with the students, figuring out a better way to do that. So, we bring those people in the February conference and have them do a session and talk about how they're going about it. At the time, poor Manta, I was using her as a communications person, a public relations person, and she would sit down and write articles for the newspaper about how a teacher was using the philosophy, and we wouldn't call it anything. We didn't say this is quality in action. We just said, here's a teacher who's using a new way of working with students to improve what's going on in the classroom. We had our transportation department do some analysis of their system in disciplining of students on the bus, and come to some really wonderful successes in reducing the amount of discipline that had to be done on a bus ride. And it involved getting the administrator, the principal, the students together and analyzing the system of a bus ride and actually doing some work with data and actually coming to some conclusions about what they could do with that system to improve it. And so what we try to do is highlight those things and use those people as examples and celebrate their successes, not only in the newspaper, at the February conference, but just in conversations. When I would do a speech at the beginning of the year, almost always we would highlight some of those examples and talk about how that could transform what was going on in a school, in a classroom, between an individual teacher and their students. So I think, as I said, it's patience and persistence. And what you have to do is take those things that really exemplify what you're trying to do and highlight them and promote them and celebrate them with other people. And have those people talk to the others who are willing to help them understand what they did, how they did it, and why it worked.